And I say thank you very much for inviting me this morning. It's an honour. Us patients don't often get asked what we actually want and what our experience are. So this is a huge change in perspective. It seems that our voices are finally being heard. So I'm Debra Dulake. Wow, that's me in quite a big picture there. So I am the sum of many parts. I turned 50 this year, so the past 50 years have brought me to the me of now. I reflect for tomorrow, remembering yesterday and living for today. But the next slide is going to show you Wurzel Gummidge. Okay, hands up who remembers good old Wurzel Gummidge. So I'm relieved. So I was thinking I'd have a room full of youngsters here who'd be like, who? So as humans, we all wear different heads. Each head has a different story. Age adds the chapters, experience writes the lines. How we see ourselves and how we are seen by others can be very different. How we behave towards others can have a significant effect on them. I feel a little bit like Wurzel Gummidge, where I take off my different heads through my different stages. So who am I and what matters to me the most? The most important role to me is the role of mum. My adult sons are my world. The role was obviously changed over the years, and most recently I found myself with the empty nest syndrome, entering another stage of my life. Second to this is my role of wife. My husband works at our local hospital as a healthcare support worker. Next is my role of daughter. My parents are both elderly. I'm now finding that they need more help and more time. Nothing brings me more joy than having all of my family together for a meal. So as a patient, I was born with my leg facing backwards. At 5 days old, my hip was dislocated and relocated, and my parents were told that it would become problematic as I got older. Since 2014, I've been a patient of a consultant having hip injections via theatre at least every 6 to 12 months, waiting to be nearer that golden 50, which was the goal according to the consultant. My chronic pain and immobility triggered another illness called fibromyalgia, and I had to give up work. At 48, the steroid injection stopped working, and so the consultant began talking about surgery, but the goalpost had changed. My BMI was now too high and he couldn't do the surgery, so he just straight up discharged me and said he could no longer treat me because of my weight. I left that appointment in tears, heartbroken and suicidal. My way of coping, of course, was to eat more, and my weight increased even more. Through sheer luck, my neighbour was a nurse and worked with another orthopaedic consultant, so she asked if I could see him. An appointment was made. The consultant sat me down and had an open and honest conversation, saying to me that if I could lower my BMI, losing 3 stone, that he would agree to do the surgery. And we actually pinky sweared together in the appointment. So we both agreed, and I left with a feeling that I had something to work towards. In November 2020, I joined Stephen with the hip operation during COVID, and I had a phone call out of the blue to attend a pre-op assessment where my weight was checked, and I had managed to lose some weight, lowering my BMI, and I was booked for surgery the next week. My hip replacement went well, and I was in for only 36 hours, mobile and walking again within hours. Staff couldn't believe it. When meeting my consultant for a review, he was so happy to see what had changed that the working with a patient had made, and that was his exact words. A healthcare professional, he couldn't fix everyone, and that the patient had to help him to help them. And he was genuinely pleased to see the excellent outcome. What a difference the right care made to both of us. 2 different paths, one leading to my potential death and the other to me finding life again. I've since found out that the staff at the hospital had been told to reduce waiting lists, so I believe my first consultant took the easy way out and discharged me to lower those numbers. I also believe that there should be a wider discussion around BMI, health, fitness and patients making the final decisions on their care. I was well aware of the risks with surgery around my weight, but didn't have diabetes, heart issues, or high blood pressure, and I'd never had any problems with general anaesthetics. At the point of needing surgery, I'd lived with chronic pain for 15 years, grieved the loss of my job, my role as mum, my role of wife, and had very little to live for, so the risks to not having the surgery were just as high. Ultimately, once given all the facts, I should have been able to have made the ultimate decision to have surgery or not. I'd needed it. When I needed it the most, the system had let me down. And thank goodness there are still those NHS staff who know truly what personalised care looks like and puts the patient first. Since surgery, I've been able to majorly reduce my pain medication. I no longer take opioids or controlled drugs, been left with symptoms from my other illnesses, but can now appreciate life more, spend my time helping showcase good practice and champion shared decision making at every level. At this point, I could list all the publications of research journals that I've been involved in, but those that know me know that isn't me. I am more about encouraging others to be heard, holding hands and empowering those who feel that they can't to tell their stories, shining the light on good practice and networking so it can be replicated elsewhere, listening to many other voices from research professors, NHS staff, charities, pharma and business and tech, working together to genuinely co-produce pathways and treatments to help others. Healthcare professionals and patients working together to provide care for the benefit of the patient, which ultimately will save the NHS time, money, and make a real difference to patients. We're bringing a change to the forefront of conversations. Our voices are getting louder, and I thank you for listening to my story today. I hope it has at least sparked your interest in shared decision making. So let me leave you all with one most important question of the day. What is in your power to change, which will ensure genuine shared decision making with your patient? One clue is that it starts with a smile. Thank you.